Now we move on to our next chapter, the land use pattern. So in modern metropolitan areas, jobs are divided between the central business district, the suburban subcenters, and everywhere else. So it turned out that most jobs are elsewhere. It's widely spread throughout the metropolitan area, and most people work and live from the city. So in this chapter, we are going to describe the special distribution of unemployment, employment, as well as the population within cities. Then we're going to look back about 100 years to the different urban reality. So we are going also to discuss the rise and the demise of the monocentric city. To describe the distribution of jobs and people, the population in metropolitan area, uh, we divide. Okay, one approach is to divide a metropolitan area into two parts: a central area and the rest of the metropolitan area. So the land area covered by other municipalities. And the second approach is to take the closer look at the spatial distribution of jobs throughout the metropolitan area, and using the smaller geographical unit. For example, here the geographical distinction between a central area within 3 miles of the center and the rest of the metropolitan area. So we move on to the spatial distribution of employment first. Okay, based on the first notion, the center city and suburban area, the suburb area grew faster than central city, so it leads to employment decentralization. From the second notion, around one-fifth of jobs in 100 largest metropolitan areas within 3 miles, and above two-thirds jobs within 10 miles. So it means that the jobs are more when far from metropolitan areas. We can also view the aspect from the aspect of central business district, the CDB, the suburban centers, subcenters, and also everywhere else. And most of the employment are from everywhere else, that is dispersed area. So in most metropolitan area, job dispersed rather than concentrated in CDB and subcenters. And we move on to the spatial distribution of population. The population in a suburban area is higher than the central city. So when the majority jobs are outside the central cities and also population, and most frequent commuting trip is within the suburban area. And also the least frequent trip is from the central city residents to the suburban jobs. Okay, these are some example of sub-centers. What are the definition of sub-centers and the example of sub-centers? For example, mixed industry, mixed service, specialized manufacturing, and service-oriented sub-centers. As well as we have the specialized entertainment sub-centers. So you may look at the different types of sub-centers and how they set the distribution, the special distribution between employment as well as the population. So about the density, the employment density decreased as distance to the center increase, and despite the fact that the center contains a relatively small fraction of employment, and these sub-center firms benefit from proximity to firms in center, uh, where they have the higher land price near the center, and firms in different sub-center interact, okay, indicating that sub-centers have a different function and they are complementary between each other. And to calculate the urban density is the population of metropolitan areas divided by amount of use in urban land. Urban land use including residential area, the industry, commercial areas, road, school, as well as the city parks. And this urban density is a very important factor to influence the land price of a city. So when we move away from the city center, the price of land in particular city will decrease because of the population density is decreased. This slide and the following slide will explain the rise of the monocentric city, what are the factors that contribute to the rise and to the demise of the monocentric cities. And here is the factors that contribute to the rise. There are four factors. The first one is the production subjects to economies of scale, as our fourth axiom of urban economics, innovation in intracity transportation, the technology of building construction, and the primitive technology of freight. And I'm not going to read this, okay. These are the explanation for the rise of the monocentric city. The first one is production, innovation, okay, and these are some of the history of the innovation that leads to the rise of the monocentric city. And this is the third and fourth factors. And the next one is the demise of the monocentric city. There are three main factors. Okay, you can look what are the factors. Okay, for example, the centralization of manufacturing, the centralization of office employment. Okay, as we can see what happening. Okay, and the last one is the decentralization of the population. And these are the three reasons of for the centralization. For the first one is the increase in income, lower commuting costs that will decrease the relative cost of suburban living, and the suburbanization of jobs and people that reinforce between each other, where the workers follow jobs and jobs follows the worker. That's the reason for the centralization of the city that leads to the demise of the monocentric city. So that's all for the topic for this lecture 7. Thank you.